April 8, 1943. A thin fog clung to the streets of Rennes, France, muffling the footsteps of German patrols and street lamps casting pale, trembling halos on the cobblestones. The city slept uneasily, unaware that a storm brewed in the shadows, one led not by generals or men in uniform, but by a teenager with a determined gaze and nerves of steel. Jackie Briere, barely 16, slipped through the alleys like a ghost, her satchel packed with coded messages, maps, and the tiny tools of sabotage she had come to wield with deadly precision. Every sound was amplified in the quiet, the distant clang of boots on iron, the creak of a shutter, the whisper of her own breath. She paused, crouched behind a barrel near a German barracks, eyes scanning the darkened windows for patrol patterns. Her mind raced with the details she carried, troop schedules, train departures, ammunition stockpiles. Each scrap of intelligence she delivered could mean the difference between a successful mission or a massacre. Inside the barracks, Captain Hans Meyer sipped bitter coffee under the dim glow of a lantern, oblivious to the tiny figure orchestrating chaos mere meters away. To him, resistance meant men in the forests, saboteurs hiding in barns, never girls with braids tucked neatly beneath a scarf, whose weapon was cunning and courage rather than brute force. Yet reports he would later file in meticulous handwriting would shock him. Our operations have been compromised by girls. Jackie's cell had been active for months, coordinating attacks on supply lines and sabotaging railway junctions. Tonight, she wasn't planting explosives herself, she was delivering directions to another group, guiding them with careful precision. Every gesture mattered, the flick of her hand, the angle of her approach, the pauses between steps. One false move could expose her, could unravel the entire network. And yet, she moved as if the streets themselves bent to her will. Her route took her past the dim glow of the town square. The cafes were shuttered, the windows shuttered, and a single dog barked in the distance. She flattened against a wall as a patrol passed, the rhythmic tapping of boots sending shivers down her spine. But instead of fear, she felt exhilaration, the thrill of outsmarting an enemy who underestimated her simply because of her age and gender. By midnight, she reached a safe house, a modest apartment where other young resistance fighters, men and women alike, waited hunched over maps and radios. Jackie's entrance was quiet, but the energy in the room shifted immediately. Plans were laid, codes exchanged, and positions assigned. She spoke with authority, issuing instructions as if the weight of the entire war rested on her shoulders. In a way, it did. Each command she gave would ripple through German operations, leaving confusion, sabotage, and delayed attacks in its wake. By spring, German intelligence had begun noticing anomalies, rail lines mysteriously disrupted, supply convoys delayed, communications compromised. Yet time and again, the officers dismissed the reports as accidents or failures of their own planning. They were confounded when field reports mentioned the names of girls leading these efforts. One report would later read, almost in disbelief, "The most effective sabotage we have encountered comes from networks led by young women, girls." Jackie's brilliance lay in subtlety. Unlike the resistance fighters who preferred overt ambushes, her team specialized in invisible chaos. They tampered with engines, replaced train schedules, and intercepted messages, leaving German officers scratching their heads. The French teenager wasn't just part of the network, she was its pulse. Her ability to blend in, to seem like a normal child delivering milk or letters, allowed her to move undetected, delivering intelligence and directing sabotage with an almost surgical precision. In one daring operation, Jackie coordinated the derailment of a supply train carrying weapons intended for the Eastern Front. She guided her team from shadows, communicating via hand signals, coded knocks, and invisible chalk marks. The train never reached its destination. German officers blamed infrastructure or chance. Yet each missed shipment tightened the resistance's grip and bolstered French morale. What made Jackie remarkable wasn't just her courage, but the way she inspired others. Her presence transformed ordinary teenagers and young adults into precise, efficient operators of resistance. The Germans never anticipated that the fear they projected would be mirrored back at them by those they deemed powerless. Every failed patrol, every misdirected troop movement, every fire sabotaged in a warehouse was a testament to her ingenuity, and to the quiet fury of a generation refusing occupation. And as the war raged on, the whispers about "that French girl" began spreading, not in propaganda or newspapers, but in hushed reports among German officers who could not reconcile their disbelief, that a teenage girl had outwitted, outsmarted, and outmaneuvered them at nearly every turn. Jackie Breer had become not just a symbol of resistance, but a living nightmare to the very forces who believed they could control a nation.